Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're back for our 4th annual visit to the St. Louis Zoo. Today's in the like the mid to low 50s, so it's a lot warmer than it has been in this previous year, so there's a lot more people here, which is cool to see people at the zoo. But as we know before, the animals are more active when it's cooler rather than when it's warmer out. So we're gonna go around and see who all is active, but we're gonna start with my favorite building, the Herpetarium. So let's get going in there.
Snow is falling and the careless calling.
So we just came out of the Herpetarium, and as I mentioned before, my favorite building. And it was really cool to see the African rock python enclosure, since that is a new animal here, or since at least the last time I visited. And I'm a big python fan myself, so I like the Burmese pythons, the African rocks, so it's kind of cool to see them there. Oh, they changed up the Ozark hellbender enclosure, so now they have a pygmy rattlesnake and some turtle species in there. So I thought that was super cool to add some new species to that enclosure, since previously it was just a hellbender, which is just a super unique species on its own. So we're gonna move on to the next part, which I don't know yet. We're gonna look on the map and figure it out. So since it is a bit warmer today, it's super cool to see all the animals out and enjoying the sun and not like back in their shelters, so a lot more of the animals are outside. So that means that animals like the giraffes are going to be out, because giraffes are actually not that cold tolerant, so we're going to be able to see them. We're also going to see ostriches, the okapi, which is one of my favorite antelopes. I don't know why, but it is. Who else are we going to see? We're going to see some zebras, we're going to see camels, we're going to see... we're going to see some takins, which I think are really cool. It's a really interesting climbing species of antelope from the Himalayas. I don't know why, but they're kind of ugly, but they're also super cool at the same time. So we're gonna definitely stop there and see what they're up to. And
Yeah, it's Christmas time again. Yeah, it's Christmas time again. Peace on earth and joy to men. Friends singing, silver bells are ringing.
so here we are at the camel and the zebras enclosures. And one thing I really like about the St. Louis Zoo is how they make all the enclosures look like one enclosure. So you can see this one here, then we have the wall, and then right behind them you can see the zebras. So you just kind of see some rocks and it looks like one big enclosure. So it is separated, but it's super cool. I'm gonna grab my soda over here. But usually when we come over here, they're usually up there on top of all these rocks, and it's super cool because you don't usually think that a hoofed animal can climb up there, but they just do it with ease, and I think that's super cool. So we're gonna head over and see the big cats. So since it is a bit warmer today and there's a lot of people out and about, a lot of the animals, the big cats I mean, are just sleeping. Like this guy over here. I don't know if you can get him in the shot due to the angle of the fence, but he's just laying there in the shade, as are the lions and the leopards. So we're gonna move on.
Friends singing, silver bells are ringing. Oh, Merry Christmas time again.
Now we're here in the Birdhouse, and I really like this building because, one, the enclosures are super elaborate. Two, pretty much at any given moment there's birds calling or making noises so you can hear them. There's a couple in the back there where they just stop making noises as soon as they turn on the camera. And probably my favorite part is how the enclosures, like, how they keep the animals in. Instead of like glass or a cage or anything, they have these strings. So if you look down this way, it looks completely open. And it doesn't look like they're secured in there at all. It just kind of looks like the animals stay where they're supposed to. Like if you look over here, you can get a closer look at it. It's just these strings. If I wanted to, I could put my fingers in there. I'm not going to, but I could. And it makes the whole enclosure seem nice and open and you're really close with like more of a wild animal. So this is just a couple steps away from where I ended the last clip. I thought this was really cool. So here we have the Micronesian kingfisher, which is from the island of Guam in the Pacific. And I think that's super cool because my dad and a bunch of family and family friends were stationed in Guam. So this is a really sad story for the Micronesian kingfisher, the Guam rail, and a bunch of other native birds. So the brown tree snake was introduced to the island of Guam and pretty much eradicated all bird species on the island. I believe there was 12 and there's only 2 left, which is insane to think about because there's no natural predators for the snake. So the birds aren't used to snakes on the island, and the brown tree snake has no competitors and no competition at all. So he's up there flying around. So if we can't get him, we'll take a pan back to the sign down there. But I think it's a super cool story, and I visited the Cincinnati Zoo as well, and they're doing a breeding program with the Guam rails and the Micronesian kingfishers. So I think it's a super cool story. I also did a video about the Guam rail and the brown tree snake, but I think I touched on the brown tree snake, but I did mention it. And then we do have something else in the works from a guy in Guam. So more details coming up on that. I'm super excited to get that video out. But let's keep on walking around and see if we can see anything else super cool.
Round the unvirgin mother and child, holy and so tender and mild.
So we just got out of the birdhouse. We had an awesome conversation with one of the keepers in there about the conservation of Guam birds. And it was super cool because that's a shared interest amongst my dad and I. So getting to talk to one of the keepers who's helping with the conservation and the breeding of some of the birds here is awesome. So where are we going now? We're gonna go down the hill and probably get lunch or something and then move on. So now we're going to the Penguin Cove, which usually at this time of year, since it's so cold outside, it's warmer in here. But this year it's flip-flopped, so it's kind of a break out there. And this is the penguin corner here. The penguins are always awesome to look at. This is a must-see part for my dad and I, and it should be for everyone else as well.
Christ the Savior is. Oh, Christ the Savior.
So now we're coming up to River's Edge, and we'll talk a bit louder here because of the waterfall. But this is another one of my favorite parts of the zoo. There's 3 different sections. They have Asia, Africa, and South America. Sorry. So it's cool to see all the different kinds of animals and just kind of walk through the woods. And we have a group of people behind us, so we're just gonna keep on moving, keep on trekking, and see what is going up. So behind us here we have the black rhino. This is always an enclosure I like to look at because rhinos are extremely endangered in the wild, so it's not too often you get to see rhinos. So this is also a multi-species enclosure. We have some sacred irises, which are hanging out around the corner there. But I believe it's the calf in the other enclosure. I'm not 100% on that, but over the past couple of months when we have visited, she has had her calf with her, so I'm going to assume it's her calf. And again, it is super cool to see rhinos due to how endangered they are. But we're gonna move on to the next section and get moving. So behind me now we have the spotted hyena. I don't know why, but this is one of my favorite enclosures to look at throughout the entire trail because usually they're active. This is not really proving my point today, but they're just a super cool animal to look at. And I probably have said I have a lot of favorites throughout this entire video, but I do have a lot of favorites. It's a cool zoo to look at. And there's a lot of cool animals. So over here we have the cheetahs. It's always kind of difficult to see them because they have such a large pen, and they also have an area behind there. But we'll see if they're out and about today. I'm not seeing any right here. But we're gonna keep on walking down and see if they're out today. So I was able to spot them around the corner, and they're just up there on top of the little camouflaged sleeping box there. I don't know what all their names are for it, but if it is a sleeping box, they're sleeping on top of it. And this is another example of what I was talking about earlier, where they kind of make the enclosures look like they blend together. So here is a dwarf mongoose enclosure, which is kind of cool on its own, but we never usually see them out. And then you have a little wall in the ditch, which keeps the cheetahs from getting anywhere closer to the mongoose. And it just looks like one enclosure, kind of looks like the wild. Which I see a lot more zoos doing that now, and it's just it's super cool because it kind of makes it seem more wild than in captivity. So we're gonna walk down here into the Asia part of the trail, and we're gonna always stop by my little favorite statue of the king cobra there. Because ever since I first visit here, I've always been just taking pictures with this little statue. I don't know why I do it, but it is entertaining. It's my little buddy. Don't name for him yet. I've been seeing him for 5 years. But. So that is going to conclude our visit to the St. Louis Zoo, our annual visit on Christmas Eve. And we didn't see all the animals, but we saw most of them. And we're going to continue on doing this tradition because it's just fun and really don't have anything to do on Christmas Eve. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video and the little tour we did. And as always, don't forget to leave a big thumbs up down below, subscribe to the channel, and also check out my Instagram @kosher. And as always, I'll see you next time.
Then he smiled at me, pa-ra-pa-pum-pum.